The Super Bowl game is here once again, and today is the perfect time to talk about the Black history in sports. This episode will cover some history in Black sports and also cover some history in football. So let the games begin. I need a lesson. Hi, welcome back to another episode, or welcome to an episode of Lessons Learned. My name is Tia, and I'm so happy that you're here. If you are new here, please hit that like and subscribe button so you can see more episodes and you can learn a lesson. So yes, like I said in my intro, we are going to be talking about Black sports, Black athletes in sports, and just the key highlights that they've done. Because without Black people, honestly, without Black people, especially in sports, it would be totally different. So yes, today is the perfect time to be talking about the highlights and the achievements that Black athletes have made in sports. And they honestly change history. Me personally, I don't know a lot about football, so if someone could teach me, be my guest. And also, if there's additional information that you know about these athletes or know about Black sports, please go in the comments section and let me know, because I'm always willing to learn. No one's right. I had to look up this information because I don't know much about football. So help us this out. So African Americans basically started in sports in 1884. Well, technically in 1879. William Edward White was actually the first Black male to be in baseball, but because of his skin color, he kind of passed off as white. And that's a huge thing back in the day. Like, a lot of Black people that looked white, that had fair skin, could pass as white. So he technically was the first Black player in baseball. But in 1884, Moses Fleetwood Walker was the first Black baseball player. Moses Fleetwood Walker was actually a catcher. He dealt with intense racial scrutiny, so unfortunately he lasted only one season. So sad. But many know as Jackie Robinson, breaking the racial barrier in baseball and just changing the whole outcome in the sports. Many know Jackie Robinson as the first African American to play in Major League Baseball in 1947. He was the one to break the baseball color line. Thank you. Thank you, Jackie Robinson. Thank you, guys. No, but for real, thank you, because if without them, I feel like sports would be so different than now, which I'll get into that later. So before I get into football, here are some more amazing Black athletes that I've researched. Oh, by the way, if you see me looking down, I got some notes up in here, so I don't know all this in my head, okay? And I wish I could cover every single Black athlete, but unfortunately I can't, because I would be on here for over an hour. So I just want to thank all the Black athletes that broke racial barriers and just kept pushing to their dreams. Thank you. Okay, let's get started. The first Black professional soccer player was Arthur Wharton in 1889. He was a goalie and an occasional winger. He also made 54 appearances across 4 professional seasons. The first Black sportscaster in 1929 was Sherman Jacko Maxwell. There was many times he was not paid for his work by white broadcast outlets. Throughout the 1930s, he interviewed many of the biggest stars in sports. In 1948, Alice Coachman became the first Black Olympian. She won 10 consecutive national championships in the high jump from 1939 to 1948. Yes, girl. She captured goals in the high jump in 1948 and became the only American woman to medal at the Olympic Games. Yes, girl, Black girl magic, get it, girl, thank you. In 1958, The first African American National Hockey League player was Willie O'Ree. He signed as an NHL contract in 1950. In his career, he played 22 years between National Hockey League and minors. On the other hand, the first African American female hockey player was Blake Bolden. She was the first Black woman hired as an amateur scout when she started with the LA Kings in January 2020. So that wasn't too long ago. Like, girl. And the only reason why I came up with this was because I was thinking, I'm like, I don't see a lot of Black people in hockey, so let me find out. And another thing I love about her is she's helping other colored women, you know, achieve their dreams into hockey. And some people are scared, you know, especially if they're the only one. A little side story, this doesn't have to do anything with hockey or football, but I used to swim in high school and even middle school, and for a long time I was the only Black girl, and I used to be like iffy, but then again, like, I also took advantage of that because it just made me stand out more. So the fact that she's doing that to help other women, especially women in the sports, to create barriers and to like accomplish their dreams, it's amazing. So keep going, girl. I don't know if you're gonna watch this video, but I'm proud of you. I'm proud of everyone that I talk about on here, okay? So thank you. Okay, moving on. A lot of people think chess is not a sport, but it is. It really is. And the first African American to win the Grand Master, which is the highest level you can get in chess, was Maurice Ashley. Maurice started becoming more serious once he was in high school. He became the chess Grand Master in 1999. That's amazing, okay? Like, I don't know how to play chess. I can play some checkers, but maybe he could teach me, because I don't know. I don't know how to play chess like that. I just know like the little, see, I don't even know what I'm talking about. Okay, I'm moving on. In 1966, the first professional Black head coach was Bill Russell. Actually, yesterday was his birthday. Happy birthday, Bill! He started playing for the Boston Celtics and later the first Black man to coach his team to championship. Now, I just want to ask this question. How many people, especially Black people, do you know that fence? There's actually quite a bit of Black people that fence, and I didn't know that until I researched it. But the person I'm going to talk about today is Ruth White, because she was technically the first Black woman to fence. She was the first Black athlete to win a U.S. fencing title in any weapon. She dealt with a lot of discrimination from both sides. When I was reading her like biography, one side, like the white side, they would call her the N-word all the time, like when she was going to school. And then the other side, Black people, they would try to fight her and call her a mud. Like, she couldn't win. She also explains how she went to the fencing salon, and that's when she felt the most at home and people didn't discriminate her. And she also said how it was the only time race was not an issue. It was about, you know, your hard work and your dedication. It allowed her to move forward and push through everything she went through to the side. And I love that, because she also explains how she was so lucky to find fencing, because she was going through this. Like, she didn't feel accepted on both sides. But once she found fencing, all of the people that played fence with her accepted her just the way that she was. And she had so many friends with that. So I love that. And the last person I'm going to talk about, and I'm sorry that this is the last person. I could talk about so many other great achievements Black people, Black athletes have done. But the final person I have for this side, not football. Hold on, I'm not talking about football yet. The first Black owner technically was Robert Johnson. It was only 20 years ago. In 2002, he was the founder. I also found out he was a co-founder, so I don't really know how accurate the information is, but he's a founder of BET and the first Black billionaire in sports history. There's a lot of other administrators, Black administrators, and like that helping, but he's like the one that like fully succeeded. I have more like information about how Black people aren't really managers. in the sports industry. But moving on. So let's talk about actually football because it is Super Bowl Sunday. Um, and yay, go Super Bowl. Do you say happy Super Bowl, by the way? I don't know. So I have more information on my other phone. So I didn't actually know this, but football originated from rugby and soccer. I didn't know that, but it makes sense. And it did originate in 1869. For many of the earlier years, black people were not allowed to be in the sport, which is understandable. I think the first sport we were really like into was baseball. So, and then boxing. Have you noticed like we're always in like fighting sports? But anyways, yeah, they were banned from the NFL in the earlier years. The first black man to play pro football was Charles Follis, and he played with the Shelby Athletic Club in 1902. Follis retired 4 years later, and he was replaced in the same years by Charles Doc Baker, and he was the second pro football player. So unfortunately, in 1933, the NFL banned black athletes from participating in league play. The NFL reintegrated in 1946, and black players made a huge impact, leading their teams in rushing, passing, and receiving. The Los Angeles Rams became the first NFL team to integrate when they hired black veterans, which is Kenny Washington and Woody Strode. The New York Giants and Detroit Lions that also welcomed black players, and more national football teams recruited black players in the 1950s. So everything was changing. It was changing more by more every year. So that's good. The last professional football league to integrate black people was actually the Washington Redskins. But they signed Bobby Mitchell in 1962. That's a while ago, but it's really not too long ago, you guys. In the late 1980s, a lot of black people were able to switch up their positions, but they were very discouraged on, doing quarterback and being into that. Also, for years, the football was called pigskin. It's not made from pigskin, but it's actually made now with cowhide. It's like a type of leather, but only in like the professional footballs, not the like little replicas. They're just like made with like rubber and leather and all that. But yeah, it used to be called pigskin. It's like basically their gallbladder. I thought that was interesting. I hope you did too. But eventually, black people were able to play quarterback, which is Willie Thrower, because he's the first black quarterback in the league in 1953, James Harris, Marlon Briscoe, and Doug Williams, which was the only black quarterback to lead his team to a Super Bowl win. So here are some other important black football players. Wally Triplett, Paul Tank Younger, George Taliaferro, Bill Willis, Martin Motley, Elman Tunnel. Although black people accelerated in football, many are not managers, coaches, owners, and that's something to consider. Here are some coaches, some referees that were the first to be like in the Super Bowl, to be on the field. Burl Toller, Johnny Greer, Mike Carey, Lovely Smith, and Art Shell. Art Shell was the first NFL head coach. He was named the head of the coach for the Los Angeles Raiders in 1989. In 1990, he was named AFC Coach of the Year when he guided the Raiders to a 12-14 record in the AFC West Championship. So I just want to say, is there racism in sports in the NFL? I think so. I definitely think so. But we also have to consider that we've came a long way. I mean, in the earlier years, black people couldn't even play in football. So we definitely made an impact, but there are some discrimination. I'm not going to say all discrimination, but there are definitely key factors that they don't care that much about their athletes and about their long-term health. I also researched that 67% of all players that are black, and not one of them own a team. That's interesting, right? But there is one manager. There's one. And that is Ozzie Newsome. But no, there's not any black owners yet. I definitely feel like in the future that's going to change. But I really feel like that's something to consider, especially if 67, that's a lot. That's over half of black people playing in football. And not one of them own a team. Not one of them are managers. Not one of them are coaches. Like, well, there are coaches, but it's really interesting to look at. We are changing, and that's the beauty about seeing how far we came into the history of black sports. We have so much room to change, and I look forward into seeing that. So in conclusion, the lessons that I've learned in Super Bowl and the black history in sports is that black people are so powerful, and we will get what we want at some point. You can't have us down for too long. We will get the recognition that we deserve. It's amazing how so many black people created a pathway into following their dreams and just telling everyone, especially people of color, that it's okay to follow your dreams and you should keep pushing and keep pursuing. So I honestly felt inspired when I was researching these black athletes, and I hope you learned at least something from this. Thank you so much for tuning in into another episode. I'm gonna have an episode tomorrow about love because it's a Super Bowl Sunday, right? And it's Valentine's Day tomorrow. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button if you like this video. Bye!